Roll Tide, everybody. What a weekend. What a bounce back. What a ball game yesterday. Crimson Tide goes on the road after a lot of fans thinking, oh man, expectations were too much. Is this team for real? Can they play for a national championship? Can they repeat the Final Four? We just lost to Ole Miss at home. We're going to Kentucky. We're going to be 3-2 in the conference. Crimson Tide came out and had everything clicking yesterday morning. An early tip at Rupp. We're going to get into it. Alabama going on the road, undefeated on the road in conference play. We're going to break down the rest of the January schedule, take a look at the box score. Let's dive into it. Crimson Tide winners in Rupp Arena. Man, this reminds me of vacation with Chevy Chase. Take plastic surgery to remove your you-know-what smiles off our faces after yesterday morning. Alabama, after a 10-point loss, one of the worst offensive performances in 2 years under Nate Oates, one of the worst at home in quite a while, only scoring 64 points against Ole Miss and losing to the Rebs. Alabama bounces back, goes on the road, beats Kentucky yesterday by a final score of 102-97. Alabama moves to 15-3 overall, 4-1 in the SEC. And while you thought, well, after the Ole Miss loss, Alabama could tumble in bracketology, they could tumble a little bit in the AP poll, but fear not. After that win on the road, quad one victory, Crimson Tide now with 3 top 10 victories in this basketball season. First time they've done that since I think it was 82-83 that I saw. So Alabama came in and let's be honest, we were all worried. After Tuesday's performance, everyone was worried. But what I really love is that Nate Oates had that press conference after the game Tuesday. He took everything right on the chin. He blamed himself. He blamed the seniors. He blamed the effort, the hustle, the preparation, you name it. He didn't leave any stone unturned, but he also talked about himself and how he, as the coach, had to have the team ready. Then in yesterday's press conference, he was talking about how on Thursday met with the team and said, hey, if you're not going to Kentucky expecting to win, not thinking we got a shot, not thinking, hey, we can pull this off. Hey, if we shoot well, it's going to go our way. No, he said, if you're not thinking that we're going to Kentucky and we're doing anything and everything possible and we're leaving guaranteed with a win, then either don't bother getting on the plane or don't worry about coming back home. You're not getting on the plane coming back home. And you got to love that intensity and that fire. But this is what we've been talking about. Mick and I have been mentioning this over and over and over, beating the dead horse. And that is that the SEC is just going to be absolutely brutal. Just brutal right now, or this entire season. You saw yesterday, Tennessee goes on the road and loses by a point at Vanderbilt. Auburn, who Alabama handled easily against South Carolina, Auburn almost lost to them earlier in the week, and then able to keep Georgia kind of at arm's length for most of the game, but they didn't dominate. They win, they go on the road, they get the W, and they move on. But that's just how tough the SEC is. Week in, week out. Florida and Texas, South Carolina and Oklahoma. You just see a lot of these games. Kentucky went on the road to Mississippi State and beat them. So this is one of those, like any given night, one team can upset the other. Now, Alabama's got, if you want to call it, an easier part of the schedule coming up. They do in terms of, the standard of the opponent compared to the top half of the SEC. But again, Bama's next opponent's Vanderbilt, who just beat Tennessee yesterday. So you don't really get a night off or a day off when it comes to the Southeastern Conference. Credit to Alabama. They came out in the game against Kentucky, shot the ball extremely well to quiet the crowd early on, but then they went in a lull. They started 4 of 5. Then they went on a stretch of being 0 for 12 before Mark Sears hit a 3 in the corner. And Alabama clawed their way back to the point they actually had a 2-point lead going into halftime. And if you look at, again, this is a game where depth came into play because Alabama had one player foul out. That was Mo Diabate. And then you also had other players who were in foul trouble. Grant Nelson had a career game. He scored 25 points for the Crimson Tide, led the team just by 1 over Mark Sears. He was 9 of 10 from the line, 2 of 7 from beyond the arc, 7 of 13 from the field overall, had 11 rebounds, just kind of was quite the presence on the court. So credit to Nelson. Excuse me. Credit to Nelson. I think, too, if you watch him from last year, his ability as a big man to now put the ball on the deck, dribble, drive, spin, create opportunities around the rim while also being a threat to hit from outside, just phenomenal improvement over the last year and a half in Nate Oates' system. Mark Sears, as usual, 24 points, leads the SEC in points per game. He went 4 of 12 from beyond the arc. He had no free throws until about midway in the second half. And then he ended up getting to the line 9 times before it was over. He made 8 of them, had 9 assists for Alabama. Crimson Tide had 5 guys in double figures. We mentioned Nelson, mentioned Sears. LeBaron Philon had 15. Clifford Amore had 12. He had a nice game. Chris Youngblood had 10. And then Diabate, who fouled out, was just 1 basket shy. He had 8 points in the contest. Alabama also took better care of the basketball. They struggled with that against Ole Miss, turned it over a lot, very sloppy. But against the Cats, only 10 turnovers on the late morning, early afternoon contest. High-scoring affair. The 2 highest scoring teams in the country. Alabama averaging just over 91 points per game. They score 102. Kentucky right up there as well. And you knew Alabama did have a chance because even though Kentucky can score, they also give up points. And the way Alabama plays and the opportunities, and they really spread it around so well. It was so balanced. Like it was almost 50-50 what they scored from beyond the arc versus what they scored around the basket. And then they had the free throws there. They were 29 of 34, shot 85% as a team from the free throw line. And these environments, this is what the non-conference schedule prepares you for. This is where going to Mackey Arena at Purdue, this is where playing on the road or playing neutral sites or going on the road to Carolina, playing tough teams like Houston and Oregon out in Vegas, doing those types of things in years past, playing Gonzaga up in Seattle, playing Purdue at neutral sites like last year. Those kinds of things, when you go on the road or you get away from home, you get outside your comfort zone, and then you go to a place like Rupp Arena, and Alabama able to withstand the crowd early on, shoot their way back in to grab an early lead, went cold, shot their way back in the rest of the afternoon. But this team, again, they're just constantly fighting, scrappy. The hustle was there, diving on the floor after loose balls, being physical, attacking the rim, all those things going well for the Crimson Tide. It was a completely different team, completely. And Mick and I did a show where Alabama was a 1 seed, and obviously they fell after the Ole Miss loss, dropped to a 2 seed. I believe they're in the Midwest bracket with Iowa State as the 2. Probably going to stay there because Auburn, Iowa State, and Duke all won. So I think Alabama will probably still end up being in the 2 slot. We'll see. It'll be close. Tennessee may fall, though, at this point, or probably will fall. So maybe Bama goes back up to the 1 line. But it's going to be close. Bama's kind of teetering on that 1-2 at the moment. But again, just an indicator of how difficult some of these games are. But again, battle tested, go on the road, can win these games. You think about this, like literally think about this. Mark Gottfried got Alabama to their first ever Elite Eight. But when Bama went to the Elite Eight, it was a great run. It was a lot of fun. I was there. But Bama didn't go to Kentucky and win. I know they did once, like in 2002 with Mo Williams. But they didn't go to places like this and win games. They didn't do this consistently. Bama is now a team that you don't always have to worry about them going on the road. It's not the automatic L. This is a team now that they go on the road, they expect to win. They know that they have a legitimate shot. It's not going to be some crazy upset, if they pull it off. Team stats from yesterday's game: field goal percentage, Kentucky just shy of 50%, Alabama at 45. 3-pointers, Kentucky actually shot it percentage-wise slightly better, 41-38, but Alabama made 2 extra threes, 13 to Kentucky's 11. Bama got to the line a lot more, 29 of 34, Kentucky 16 of 20. Bama out-rebounded the Cats 42-38, 15 of those offensive, where Bama one of the top teams in the nation at offensive rebounds. Both teams had 20 assists. Turnovers were pretty even, 10 for Bama, 8 for Kentucky. Fast break points, pretty even. The Cats had a little bit of an advantage there and in the paint. Fouls, Kentucky committed 4 more. So you go down that entire box score, and really it's very, very balanced. Like it was such a back and forth game, tight game all the way through, and Bama just happened to shoot their way to victory there at the end. Increased it to a 9-point lead at one point, 90-81. But the Cats, they kept coming back, kept hanging around, kept lingering. But Bama making all those free throws down the stretch was such a key piece to it. Credit also Jaren Stevenson. Again, struggling offensively, but he got the hard hat award a couple of times in the last few games. Played really hard, played physical. He's had a presence on the floor. The offensive statistics just haven't been there. Hopefully that comes around in the second half of the season. We'll see how he pans out. Nelson and Sears, phenomenal games, and then nice contribution off the bench. And this was also a game without Darian Reed, who missed again because of a leg injury. Hopefully he's back sooner than later. Alabama rotated 9 guys through, but Aiden Sherrill only played for 2 minutes, so really 8 guys mainly got on the floor for Alabama yesterday in their 102-97 victory over Kentucky. All right, let's take a look at upcoming schedule. Alabama on Tuesday night, they're going to get Vanderbilt at Coleman Coliseum. That's a 6 p.m. tip. And then Alabama goes, what do they do after that? They host LSU on Saturday. So again, 2 teams that Bama should win. It's almost nice that Vandy beat Tennessee. So you have to have your radar up, your eyes up, focus on them. Don't sleepwalk after a big victory on the road at Kentucky. So Vandy, LSU at home. If Bama can get both of those, then the Tide would go to 17-3. They would go to 6-1 in the SEC overall. Only Auburn now is undefeated. Ole Miss suffered their first defeat. And then after that, you look, Bama goes to Mississippi State. That'll be difficult before hosting Georgia, at Arkansas, at Texas. The next 5-6 games, the next 6 games for Alabama, crucial to win the ones you're supposed to. Take advantage, try to pull a 5-1 out of that, because I keep saying it, but I'm warning everybody that last 6 games, 7 games of the season, starting February 15th, that is a gauntlet like no other. Auburn at Missouri, rematch Kentucky on the 22nd of February, Mississippi State at Tennessee, host Florida at Auburn. It is a brutal stretch going into the SEC tournament. So we'll see how it pans out. We'll keep you updated on that. Also with bracketology and where Bama kind of falls as they move between the 1 and the 2 line. But Crimson Tide, huge victory over Kentucky. First time they have beaten a top 10 Kentucky team on the road in Rupp Arena since 2002. As I mentioned earlier, that season was great. It didn't end well in the tournament, as Alabama was a 2 seed but got bounced in the second round. And hopefully better luck for the Crimson Tide this coming year. All right, tell you about the mortgage stuff. So you guys know what I do. If you don't, this is what I do. Told you about it on the channel. Scan the QR code. New 0% down programs are out. Free money, grant money, money that doesn't have to be repaid for 10 years. We have so many different options, from a 0 down payment option for you. Loan program, that is. So make sure you check that out. We also have HELOC Express. What that means is a home equity line of credit. You can have money in your account as quickly as 5 days. You can apply, be final approved same day, close that day, and you can have money in your account 5 days later. So hit me up, scan the QR code. There's my info on the screen. Mick always talks about helped him get into his house, his studio. He's a walking testimony. Some of you guys have reached out on the channel, and I would love to talk to you if you're looking at refinancing, buying a home, doing the home equity line, whatever we can do to help. Would love that opportunity. Also, thanks to our good friends, always Pearl River Resort. That's who the channel is brought to you by. They got it all. The Timeout Lounge, the golf courses, the Augusta that you actually can play. The rooms are amazing. The spa, the restaurants, they got it all. Make sure you go visit them. Pearl River Resort, over just, what is it, hour and a half, hour 40 from Tuscaloosa, 2 hours from Birmingham. Go check those guys out. Awesome place, beautiful layout, beautiful property, everything you could want. Pearl River Resort, check them out. Like I said, get your money down too. Bama, SEC champion, national champion, Final Four. Got the Super Bowl, of course, coming up. If you want to get some football action still, national championship coming up tomorrow night. Head over, watch the game, lay some money. Probably Ohio State -9. Who knows? But anyway, check all that out. Pearl River Resort, good friends over there. All right, that's it. Have a great rest of your Sunday. Bama, impressive win on the road at Kentucky. Thanks for watching. We'll be back with a bracketology show in a day or two, see where Bama gets updated and moves along Joey brackets in the field of 68. All right, have a great Sunday. Roll Tide.